The Punishment of Medusa, the story of the cursed priestess. As a mortal, Medusa understood the fragility of her position. Surrounded by divine power, she was always aware that she was but a fleeting presence in the eternal domain of the gods. Yet she carried herself with humility, never presuming to stand equal with the gods, even as she felt Athena's presence watching over her. Medusa's beauty was legendary, and many whispered about her throughout the city of Athens. Suitors came from near and far seeking her hand, but Medusa refused all advances. She had taken a vow of chastity, but among those who desired her was one whose power far exceeded any mortal man: Poseidon, the god of the sea. From the depths of his watery realm, Poseidon had watched Medusa, his desire growing with each passing day. For the gods, beauty was often a source of both admiration and possession, and Poseidon's interest in Medusa was far from pure. It was an obsession, and his divine nature made him incapable of accepting. He watched her from the shadows of the sea, his heart filled with a mixture of lust and resentment. He knew that mortals had little say in the whims of the gods, and yet Medusa's purity, her rejection of all suitors, intrigued him. She was different, untouchable, and in that untouchability, she became even more desirable to the god. It was a day like any other when Poseidon made his fateful decision. Medusa had just finished leading a procession of women to the Parthenon, offering prayers for a good harvest. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the temple, Medusa remained behind, as was her custom, to offer a private prayer of gratitude to Athena. The temple was quiet, save for the soft crackling of the oil lamps that lit the sacred space. Medusa knelt before the statue of Athena, her head bowed, her lips moving silently as she prayed. The goddess's likeness towered above her, the cool marble face of the statue impassive. Suddenly, she turned, her eyes wide with fear, as the god of the sea materialized before her. His form was majestic, but there was something terrifying in the way his eyes gleamed with desire. Medusa took a step back, instinctively reaching for the protection of Athena's, "Why do you run from me?" Poseidon's voice was calm, but there was a dangerous edge to it. "I have watched you for so long, and yet you deny me. Do you not know who I am?" "I know who you are, Lord Poseidon," Medusa said, her voice trembling. "But I am a priestess of Athena. I have sworn myself to her service." Poseidon's eyes darkened. "Athena cannot save you from me. No one can." Before Medusa could react, Poseidon moved toward her with the force of a crashing wave. He was a god and she was but a mortal woman. There was no escape. In that moment, the temple of Athena, once a place of peace and sanctity, became the scene of an unspeakable violation. Medusa's cries echoed through the marble halls, but there was no one to hear her, no one to save her from the god's wrath. When it was over, Medusa lay on the cold marble floor, her body trembling with shock and horror. The lamps had reignited on their own, casting flickering shadows across the temple. Poseidon was gone, having left as swiftly as he had come, but the damage he had done was irreversible. Medusa's heart, her fear was, as she lay there, broken and sobbing, the statue of Athena began to glow with a brilliant light. Medusa raised her head, her tear-filled eyes widening in awe and terror. The goddess hers, Athena, appeared before her, her expression cold and unforgiving. The goddess of wisdom was not known for her mercy, especially when it came to the desecration of her, "You have defiled my temple?" Athena's voice was like thunder, echoing through the halls. Medusa scrambled to her knees, her hands clasped in supplication. "Goddess, please! It was not my will. Poseidon, he—" Her voice broke as sobs racked her body, but Athena's gaze remained cold. "It matters not who initiated the act. You were my priestess, and you allowed this to happen." Medusa's heart shattered. There was no reasoning with the goddess, no